attenuated season. And, looking at, Doomfist, Control Center, he could work there. He could also work on Night Market. Not so much on Garden, because I think there's a little bit too much open space. But, I think if you're thinking of, like, concentrated fire, you could pair it with the Junkrat on Control Center for sure and get a lot of damage going into that. It is a 1st to 2 here today, Steidl. So we will... we'll see how these two teams bring each other out here in the intermediate division. And, I'm totally down for, see some wacky comps here.
And don't look too hardly right now at Luau's Symmetra. Most likely just going to be a telly from spawn, because it doesn't look like they're going to be running the Lucio. And this is a questionable decision for me, Billy. They've got that Reinhardt in there. And without that speed boost, it's going to be a lot more difficult to engage on the SNVJ.
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing that I'm worried about right now is obviously the speed getting in there, but also, how much real raw healing are you going to get out of the Brigitte? You have the brawl potential there. You're going to be following up on Reinhardt's back line there. So what we want to see is, how do they address this? How do they get around the speed of SNVJ?
And you can see even with the teleporter, Luau going to be sticking on the Symmetra, but not able to get Power Dragons into position before SNVJ can take the high ground. And with that, the fight, the speed boost, allowing for them to continue to decimate Power Dragons as they try and exit the point. SNVJ winning out in that matchup, and you're going to see Luau switch over to McCree to try and change things up.
Yeah, indeed. Shiloh,
for K-Mac.
Right. They're healing a lot, but you can't keep your team up if you can't get around the speed, if you can't get behind the line there. But throwing an Amp Matrix down and throwing a Fire Strike through that is always a good thing to see.
Yeah, it's a good way to start it off, but it's going to be Mr. X with their Fire Strike coming out on top. Shark coming into the back there with the tire to make sure that Fudgy can't go anywhere. And a low health Zarya going to be sent back to the grade pretty quickly there. Wow, what a flashbang from Luau, but really just a consolation prize as Power Dragons going to have to be sent back to the ship.
Yeah, really quick amp matrices coming from both teams there. K-Mac obviously putting out a lot more healing because his team is under siege right from the get-go. And speed kills. Pac-Man right now halfway to a sound barrier. You're looking for Grav coming into the next fight. Nothing really to pair with it. So I think you hold it maybe for the Death Blossom. That mouse will be coming with soon. But Shatter Out doesn't land much. You do get 3 out of it though, and we're going to see what they can bring out of this.
And Speed's gonna go ahead and sacrifice himself, try and get something done with the tire to help move the momentum back into Power Dragon's favor, but SNVJ just perfectly prepared. Lucid gonna be able to pull out those projected barriers and completely deny damage from the tire. You saw Moo immediately saw where the Junkrat was, just took a couple of shots to take him out. And at 66%, I need to see more than just the McCree change.
Right. Is the Junkrat really getting the value that you need out of it? You're basically feeding Klusik ult charge or an energy charge on the barriers. You have to recognize that's your win condition right now. Grab Blossom right now is going to win this fight.
The Blossom is going to get booped out, but still the Immortality Field not going to ring true. There's enough chip damage out from the side and the rest of SNVJ there to follow up on the duo. Gonna keep themselves an amp matrix. They've got a sound barrier. They're gonna have a tire, and at 97%, I don't think there's anything the Dragons can do.
Nah, that was pretty one-sided, Steidl. And speed kills. We said it before, and you and I have cast enough throughout a bevy of competitions here. Speed kills, absolutely. Yeah. And they never dealt with the fact that they couldn't get around the speed that Pac-Man was providing to their team. So, here, do you stay stubborn and continue to try and force the same thing down? I like the fact that they're bringing out a couple more mobile characters in the Echo and the Tracer now. But Mouse is going to go ahead and duplicate that. And, Naj putting up a pretty good performance onto that Junkrat for the first map. We're looking at the rolling rock here coming out with a Roadhog and the Wrecking Ball. So we'll see whether the Sigma's going to win out, or are you going to get the real value out of Mr. X's Roadhog.
Oh, and the feint going through right now from Klusix on the Hammond, trying to bait a couple of members of Power Dragons there on the bridge for the boop. And Fudgy trying to do something similar in the back, but Klusik's gonna be the one finding the opening kill. But Speed gonna be able to even things out with a trade. However, Power Dragons now without their Ana as Moshmak moving slowly onto the point, but big into the kill feed quickly, decimating SNVJ. Power Dragons taking it slow are gonna have the points first go.
Yeah, Moshmak bringing out the Sigma here, the Dutch hero, and really seeing a lot of value out of that. You know, I think that the accretion as well as the kinetic grasp are going to hold them in very good stead going up against a McCree and a Tracer. As far as the DPS, you can eat that and get your shielding up in a hurry. Speed, I'm really liking this change over to the Echo now. Almost has duplicate online. You're going to have 3 ultimates going into this defense of the point here.
One of those, the Pulse Bomb in Leo's pocket. And Speed not allowing anybody to get anywhere near the point right now, landing all of those sticky bombs onto Moose. Have to back them out immediately. And you see Klusik's even getting booped off the map on that Hammond, but it's not gonna matter. Speed's got the Echo. Speed's got the ult. They're gonna be able to secure themselves a couple more kills. An unfortunate recall almost takes Moose out of the equation as well. Is that a nano boosted Roadhog I see?
I think it is. No, not yet. Surely not.
Oh, they know they nano boosted Speed at the end of the Echo.
Ah. Well, now there's the nano boost going out onto Speed on this Echo. And oh my word, that's an assassination. Beautiful work there from Speed. Really putting the team on his back here. And, you know, I mean, we're getting a complete reversal of what we saw on the control map with the mobility here. Power Dragons absolutely clawing their way back into this match.
Yeah, Power Dragons on that last map, possibly just trying to play a little bit too close to what they thought. Well, right now, this is kind of what everybody plays here on Control Center. Coming in this next map, they're going with the comfort picks. They're getting mobile. They're saying, let's take these 1v1s. We know we can win those. And it's ringing true.
I know right now that Pac-Man is trying to hold... What the heck happened there?
Mr. X hooked him off.
What?
Yeah, he didn't get credit for the kill, but Mr. X hooked Moshmak off the map completely, opening the door right now for SNVJ, but Power Dragons have their ults at the ready. Kill feed all red. Mr. X almost falling there, but able to take a breather at the very end, and that will do it for SNVJ. They're going to be able to get the point here. The question is, are they going to be able to hold it?
Well, I mean, one of their big, one of Power Dragon's big ultimates is off the table. I'm not sure when Moshmak pressed Q, but the Gravitic Flux is off the table. So, I mean, Pac-Man can just hold on to this Transcendence now for as long as they like. They can even play Minesweeper if they need to. Nice stick from Mouth, taking down Strategy God. Oh, my lord. The Sigma backed into the Brigida, and down you go. So that's a good start to their defense at this point here.
A good start indeed. You can see Klusik's not going to spend too much time there in the White Room. Needs to get out as they're getting a little bit low on health. They're not going to chase down the Roadhog. There it is. Mr. X not able to get any healing. Post Bomb going to whip the Dragons. Coming out from Ned Shark, able to find Speed into the back, and now a trapped Sigma on a very, very short ledge. It was only a matter of time before Klusik's got there. Good sleep coming through as well, but it's really just going to delay the inevitable. A couple supports trapped in a room with DPS and a Wrecking Ball. Oh, Billy.
It's brutal being trapped in White Room. I mean, Brigida can hold her own for a long time, but not long enough to be able to get themselves and extricate themselves out of danger. So closing in on 70% right now. Pac-Man still has this Transcendence. I mean, they can just hold it for as long as they need. Speed's duplicate, you know, I'm looking for them to go after the Roadhog again. You can get the whole hog up in a hurry. But the focus fire, every time that they have duplicated, the focus fire on this map has been absolutely stellar coming out of SNVJ.
There is a Transcendence from Mr. Pac-Man there at the very end to save from the whole hog that Echo or Speed threw onto the table. But still, SNVJ having to fight back for the point. 99 to 99%, trying to lock away this first map, and they're getting the kills they need now. Taking Luau out of the fight, but a rally from Strategy God going to keep Power Dragon's hopes alive. And an unfortunate minefield. Not really able to work their way around. Strategy and Speed finding the kills they need. Power Dragons should be able to take this point back.
I mean, right now, I mean, they're just still holding out one on the point, and I mean, will they be able to get enough of a presence here to hold this point? No, I don't think so. I mean, putting out the adaptive shielding right now, Klusix is in a world of hurt. He's going to go down. There's a flip, maybe? Yeah, the flip has come through. Now it's just 5v1. It's just going to be all trickles here. They just have to close out these last amounts of stragglers coming onto the point title. And I mean, you still have the, there it is, the Gravitic Flux to lift them off. The Sigma 9, and that will get them tied up in this first map of Lijiang here, 1-1.
That's a good way to start things off. Often control point can be a little bit one-sided at the beginning of these engagements where, you know, it's one team that warmed up a little bit more or one team that just really has these first, you know, open control maps down pat. But we're getting a bit of a boxing match here. They're definitely not throwing any punches.
No, and I mean, Night Market here. We saw the Symmetra come out from Power Dragons on Control Center. They didn't end up sticking with it, so maybe now is the time for SNVJ. If they're going to be the only ones running the Symmetra here, they're going to get point presence first, and it's all about denying the aerial threat that's going to be speed on this Pharah. You've got the Pharmacy in the sky. K-Mac's going to have to take care of the rest of the team. You might be running into a situation where there's not enough healing going on.
Well, you're gonna run into a situation where there's not enough team going on. If you're gonna keep getting picked off like that, Speed with an opening pick on the Klusix, no res available for SNVJ. They're gonna have a hard time holding on to the point, even though they got themselves early positioning. The damage coming out from Power Dragons is just a little bit too much.
Right, and you know, we're seeing this weird double shield variant now coming out with the Orisa buffs and the critical headshot damage being denied with Fortify. Orisa has slowly worked her way back into the meta here. I've seen it, you know, not only in this competition, I also saw it in Open Division, where we were running, you know, the Orisa as basically the off-tank, the more static barrier, and then you're running the Reinhardt as the mobile barrier and being able to get around the sides of any kind of like static composition that's on there. So what I'm looking for is how do they deal with the work coming in. That's a big shatter coming out.
Well, that's one way to do it. You throw down that shatter and completely immobilize the team, but the issue is there's an aerial threat Speed, and they've got a nano boost, a barrage, and a direct rocket for Lucio, and just gonna be picking apart SNVJ one by one. 5 health, Billy, at the end of that fight, but able to sustain long enough for the rest of the respawns from Power Dragons to get into the equation.
I mean, that's great work there from Speed, and you know, they have not dealt with the Pharah yet. So, you know, do you run a Sombra here? I mean, Sombra is kind of in a weird spot too. I would be running it, you know, not only to deal with the shielding of Fudgy, but also dealing with the aerial threat of Speed. If you can get a hack off onto the Pharah, obviously they can't fly, they can't use the concussive blast. They just have their left click, and yeah, I'm just looking for, you know, what are they going to do to address the Pharah in the sky?
Well, they're going to be able to block that shatter from Fudgy, so it's looking better for SNVJ. However, the Deadeye from Netshark not going to find any purchase, but Lau able to pop one in and gets the flash kill onto the Tracer as well for Power Dragons. SNVJ having a very difficult time getting back into the fight since the first map.
Yeah, and I mean, this is just great work here on the side from Luau. The flashbangs are huge. The nanos, the antis coming in from K-Mac. They have nano boost online. You've got almost 4 ultimates ready to go for Power Dragons here. And I mean, the Zari right now is not proving any kind of value to them.
It really isn't. They've been trying to get this grab off for quite some time, and they're trying to pair it up with Moo's Pulse Bomb, but this time the shatter comes through and the barrage still there in the back line. Finding both supports, Power Dragons are going to pretty much breeze through the last 2 points of Lijiang Tower. The scales tipped very quickly.
Yeah, indeed they did. And I mean, nobody dealt with the Pharah in the sky. Not only did they have the constant mercy pocket, but they were also dealing with the Ana's anti-nades going into the defense, and then also getting the nano boost as well. I mean, that's a lot of resources being thrown into your Pharah player. And I mean, they absolutely capitalized on everything that they had going on there. So, I mean, that's exactly what you want to see. I mean, they went down early and turned it back around, and now they're up 1-0 in our series here.
Yeah, and the Pharah is the one thing that I kind of want to talk about, because although we watched a lot of the point of view from the Pharah and a lot of kill feed for Speed, the McCree was kind of the story of success in that last matchup, where the Tracer couldn't get anything done for SNVJ because Power Dragons was always in the right position, had the flashbang held, wasn't using it excessively or on cooldown or anything like that. And yeah, the Deadeye wasn't flashy, but they got a single kill because they knew the Tracer was coming around the corner and they wanted to be ready for that, and they were able to secure that kill as well. So good job by the DPS duo from the Power Dragons about kind of splitting the responsibility about what happens through the fight.
I mean, and sticking with the Zarya that long, I would have swapped over to a Diva. I mean, I would have gotten up in the Pharah's face and just made it so they couldn't play the game. Even with a pocket, I mean, that DM would have saved you from the barrages. It would have saved you from the concussive blast. It would have, you know, the direct damage coming into your face, which Speed was more than happy to oblige them with. So, you know, I think that just the compositions that was being run by SNVJ, you know, on the first map, I mean, Brawl, it was the name of the game. But after we got away from the Brawl-centric map, it was all Power Dragons. And yeah, I was looking for them to be able to adapt going into our next map.
And I believe map is going to be Route 66, and that means that mobility definitely still on the table.
Yeah, I mean,
this is a map where you can run that Winston Diva really well.
Oh, of course. I mean, you can run classic dive here, offense and defense. What I want to see, you know, because they were more than willing to run the Wrecking Ball, and I know that you love Hammond with all of your heart. So, I mean, think about, you know, running a double bubble in that way where you run the Wrecking Ball as your main tank, getting the disruption in there, getting the projected barrier from a Zarya, and then getting, you know, the adaptive shielding after that. I think that running the high-low here would be fun. You know, being able to see where Wrecking Ball can get into trouble and get into the backline. Zenyatta needs to be heavily favored here as well. I think that Discord Orb for a defensive team will be paramount because they've got to get that extra damage going into it. So we'll see what the teams bring out as far as their compositions. We'll see who's on what side here. I believe the SNVJ is going to be on the defense, if I am not mistaken by our setup. So yeah, so Power Dragons, you know, will come out. We'll see if they can run it back and see what they can bring out as far as composition here. Because man, once we got away from the Brawl, Power Dragons really took it to SNVJ. They were very, I guess, very stuck on being Rein Zarya. And I didn't see enough, especially on Night Market. I didn't see any value out of that Zarya. I think that your hero pool has to come out a little bit different. Mr. X was getting shreds onto SNVJ, both with the Orisa and with the Roadhog.
And I think for me the composition that I want to see is what I like to call the double down, which is the composition that you were talking about with that Zarya and the Wrecking Ball, because it allows the Wrecking Ball, you go in for that initial pile driver, you get a big whammy, you pop your shields, you get out, you immediately rebound back, get another swing through, get another pile drive down, get the projected barrier, and then get back out. And then seconds later, you're right back in, hit the ground, get yourself some shields. And if you can get that stagger going with the Zarya and the Wrecking Ball, you can't do anything about it. I mean, that bubble's going to stop the flashbang, and a lot of the crowd control is going to be spent on him if it wasn't already spent on the first go when you use those shields to get out.
For the Matrix, by the way, I saw Neo. It was very fun. Oh my gosh, I'm back in the Matrix. Yeah, this is lots of fun, Uki. But you know, looking at what we are going to be thinking. Yeah, I've nice work there. So what we'll see is, you know, I like the double down. I think that, you know, if you have the tech right with the Wrecking Ball, I think that you can get almost 75% with a couple of swing throughs. So we'll see what they bring out. I'm very interested in seeing what SNVJ are going to bring to this map offensively. So that's what I need to see out, because their Brawl was good, but the wide open spaces of Route 66, yeah, it left me wanting.
The Brawl did leave you a little bit wanting. It wasn't as much that it wasn't working. It looked like they were playing Brawl on a couple of patches ago. It didn't feel like what I'm used to tuning in and seeing on my clean feed from a lot of teams in the past couple of weeks. You know, and like I said, you have to bring that Lucio to the table if you're going to go with the Brawl. It's not just about the fact that you get that AoE healing, which is very important, but it's also about the fact that get your Junkrat into that engagement, get your Reinhardt into that engagement, and get them out so you don't have to waste half your shield going from point A to point B just so you can start to swing, so that now when you do need your shield and you bring it up, it's just going to break.
Right. I just think, man, I mean, the mobility that the Lucio affords you when you're trying to aggress and also kite back. I think that's the biggest function of a Lucio. It's not the healing, it's not the sound barrier, it's the speed. Speed kills, and I mean, they won the first map easily running the Lucio, then they went away from it. And I'm not sure what the thought process behind that was, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see what they bring out here on Route 66. This is one of my favorite maps. So, yeah.
Well, it looks like we've got a little bit of a stumble in the lobby right now, so we are going to have to go to a short break, ladies and gentlemen. But we are going to be right back. Do not go anywhere. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, on the sunny streets of Route 66, somewhere in Nevada, right? Or is it Utah?
I believe it is Nevada.
I'm pretty sure that's where we are. If you know where we are, say it in chat, because obviously I don't. But all I know is that this is the one map that, as an Outlaws fan, I don't like seeing.
Oh.
Just it's the truth. Gotta put it out there. We'll see how SNVJ feels about it, however, as they're looking to put one map onto the board. Power Dragons now on the attack, going to be setting the pace and you doing a quite mobile double bubble strategy to do so.
I still want the Lucio. I'm sorry. I don't think this Brigida pick is worth the pick, honestly. I think that running the Lucio with this, you know, you're going to get the AoE healing, you know, because it's single target healing other than the nade coming out of K-Mac. And, you know, if you run the Lucio, you've got that AoE, you're getting everybody topped off at the same time. The Inspire has to be kept up at all times, and you can't do that when you're static on the ground. But that's a great nade coming in from K-Mac, and that's a quick assassination of the off-tank for Mr. X.
Yeah, it's going to be a good start to buy some space for for the Power Dragons. The res was there. However, the backline no longer there. Naj and Luau doing a bit of a trade, but 2 down for SNVJ on the defense. Battle the only healer into the engagement as Netshard gets deleted immediately after getting rezzed.
Yeah, this is great pursuit coming out of Speed. We really like the Speed echo on Gardens, and now we're seeing it again here on the attack phase for Power Dragons. And I mean, going in concert with Fudgy on the Winston, absolutely assassinating the members of SNVJ. They've got to do something to figure out how to get the echo out of the sky, because they're just living rent-free up on their faces. And I mean, Zenyatta's going to go down in a heap here.
And with the composition that you have from SNVJ, it's going to be difficult to peel for your Zenyatta. You're going to have to make sure that Nayshark or Moo is kind of babysitting for that dive.
Yeah, I mean, the Discord right now is just not showing any kind of value. So we'll see if it is able to get more value going through the second phase here, especially if you can hold high ground with Pac-Man up there. Just hold up there, get the Discord orbs, rein in the damage coming down, and see what you can get out of it. But I mean, a duplicate already online for Speed. I mean, I'd say go after either the Zenyatta. Give yourself a Zenyatta. Oh. What a shot!
How about go back to spawn? That's what the SNVJ'd like to say. Nateshark with a big opening kill there is gonna fall to Luau in the very ending as Moo tries to reposition there onto the high ground. But Power Dragons going to have to kind of go back to a drawing board there. They have a lot of ults. The question is, are they gonna be able to use it? This is an open area. And with the Sombra and the Widowmaker, SNVJ have everything they need to keep that concentrated attack from happening.
But sides up right now, Steidel, that's going to reveal where Sombra's at, so you can't get that EMP in there unless you know exactly where she's at.
Well, you're going to be able to find out that Widowmaker. And Speed now onto the Hammond, has the Echo, but immediately hacked and damaged or DPS'd out by Moose. Beautiful play by SNVJ, and you're seeing Power Dragons, even though they're committing ultimates, the payload still not really budging from where it was originally.
Yeah, and I think the Moose right here, you know, running the Sombra is absolutely disrupting what Power Dragons are trying to do. Also, Pac-Man and Nod Shark have both found their range. What a flick from Luau, though. That's going to take the Transcendence off the table for right now. This should be free cart push for Power Dragons as long as they watch their corners here. Res coming up from Mattel, though. That's going to bring the Transcendence and a stall ability, maybe.
The stall might be able to come through. There goes the Hammond. Mr. X going to die as they're trying to get back in. Even though the Zenyatta's here on the edge, they're going to get a 1v1 with the Widowmaker and win that with a swift punch. As Speed goes back up to the choke to make sure that the rest of SNVJ is cut off from the point. Transcendence from Pac-Man is going to keep things alive for a little bit longer, dwindle the clock for just a little bit, but ultimately a stall is all we're going to get.
Yeah, and I'm still a questionable use of the Transcendence. I mean, you have to know that the Graviton Surge from Moshmak is online. So now you have nothing really to defend against that. You might be able to get, you know, some knockback through it. But I mean, your one tool to prevent the damage coming in from this Graviton Surge is gone. Now you see the swap over to the Lucio that we were calling for before title. So now they're going to be able to address this. They're going to be able to speed into Power Dragons and get out of damage when they need to.
And I think this is going to be a big difference maker here because both Reinhardt and the Brig need to be close quarters, except for situations like that. Fudgy with the Fire Strike to find 2. And the rest of Power Dragons, I mean, looking pretty powerful.
Yeah, I mean, that was a magnificent Graviton Surge. Also looking at the K-Mac nade into said Graviton Surge, everybody was just sitting ducks. There was just a little bit of swing here and there. They did invest the nano onto Fudgy, and he gets deleted by a anti nade from Mattel. So we're gonna have that coming up into the next fight.
And a beautiful job denying multiple ultimates there with Fudgy out of the equation. Speed's duplicate as well gone. Power Dragons are going to have to press S, but Mr. X going insane. However, committed that nano boost a little late for me.
Yeah, I completely agree, Steidl. I think that you could have actually held it because you were already +2. When you let loose with the nano, I think you could have saved it for the next fight because you're coming into almost 4 ultimates from Power Dragons. What I'm looking for is, you know, the Shatter. How many people do you land into it? And looking at the right clicks from Moshmak, I mean, you're going to have another Graviton Surge up again.
See if there's anything fancy coming out from Luau. The Shatter goes through. The Deadeye as well online, trying to boop away, but still going to be finding their quarry. Fudgy leading the team of Power Dragons to a payload completion here on Route 66 with 1 minute and 58 seconds left on the clock.
It took one Shatter. It took a block of a Shatter and then a landed Shatter to just absolutely decimate the defense of SNVJ there. And man, that's some great work. I like the fact that they swapped to mirror what Power Dragons were working. I think it's just a little bit too late to have any kind of meaningful impact with the Lucio from McPacman. So, you know, I think that you take what you gained out of that 0.3 defense. Yeah, they have almost 2 minutes left, right? But the work that they were putting in there, they showed that they could push back Power Dragons at their own game.
Not to mention that 2 minutes isn't too big of a time pick. It's impressive, but it's beatable.
It is beatable. And I mean, looking at Nashark, I mean, bringing out the McCree, started throwing wrenches into what Power Dragons were doing. Speed had to have their head on a swivel because Naj was absolutely hitting shots with the Peacekeeper.
Interesting to see them bringing out the Widowmaker here.
We at least got
update from
the right.
production. We're both wrong, guys. This is not in Nevada nor in Utah. It is Albuquerque, New Mexico.
For QQ.
It is confirmed in the cookbook. Really? I own that. I should know that. I have 2 of those.
Shame.
I have 2
for shame, Steidl.
Absolutely for shame.
For shame.
I even know how many rockets fires per second in her ultimate, but I don't know where Route 66 is. Need to make more room in my memory palace.
Of course, now that you said Albuquerque, now what I want is some frickin' hatch green chili sauce.
Ooh.
But, you know, that's for another time. Of course, I am a chef and I love talking about food. However, bringing out the Genji here, I'm not sure what you're trying to establish with this. You're going to get the poke from range and then wait for your second to go in there with the blade and see if you can get an assassination. But what do you really hope to accomplish in the mid fight? That's the real question for me. Is what is the purpose of the Genji here? You got the deflect, obviously. But I mean, Dragon Blade is what you're playing for. That's a great flashbang coming out of Luau. But you know, they're starting to really push in here.
Yeah, this is the triple dip composition right here where you're throwing in all of these really mobile threats where the Genji with the right combination of cooldowns can get a kill on their own. The Echo can do the same, as can the Hammond. So it allows for all three of these heroes to kind of just play on a whim. You can play together, you can play separately, and you get a lot of value out of it.
I'm going to yoink that, by the way. I triple dip. I'm absolutely loving the name of this, and I'm totally stealing it. I'm calling it right now. No, but I agree with you. I think that you know the ability to be on your own, independent, autonomous, and really get the value that you need out of this. Nice shot there from Speed, taking the Echo out of the sky, getting working, pushing in onto the payload here. Steidl, and they've got ultimates coming up online. What would you say to possibly running either the Rolling Thunder here, where you bring out the Reinhardt, or I'm sorry, the Rock and Roll with the Sigma and the Hammond? I think that would be a great counter to what SNVJ is running right now, or the Winston as well.
I mean, I'm not too disappointed or angry at this Orisa, especially paired with the Baptiste. It's gonna create a formidable stance right here for Lau to just walk across the bridge and find kills. The one thing that I would probably change up in the composition would be that Sigma. I would actually trade the Sigma for the ball.
I absolutely agree with you. I think you need a little bit of mobility to really throw SNVJ for the shock factor that you're looking for. And I mean, you could also run it with the Winston. I know you are very Hammond loving here, and I feel you on that. I just think that the Winston provides that cleave and chip damage that you really need to deal with like the Genji, the Zenyatta, and the Echo.
Wow. K-Mag doesn't need any help from the DPS to keep themselves safe there in the back. Power Dragon's finally able to stabilize, even without the recommended swaps that us experts here have contributed. But the big thing that I'm looking at for Power Dragons is the fact that Luau, Speed, and Fudgy, all three have had these ultimates for quite some time, and they're being very, very careful about what utility they're actually committing to each fight.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm loving the tech that we're seeing out of Klusic right now. Just the wraparound to the grapple and, getting the pile driver onto the high ground. You've got to displace them right now because they are so entrenched up here. Nadshark pulling out a 2K there. What else are you going to be able to get here, my friend?
Nobody's seeing the Hanzo go on high, and they are absolutely going to be going insane. Even kind of allowing that Baptiste to live for a little bit. Just got a single shot onto K-Mac and turned back to the team. Anybody want to help? Anybody want this kill? I mean,
they knew they had the fight one right there, and I mean, you're just helping the rest of your team get their ultimates online. The one member of SNVJ right now. Ooh.
And that's a pretty thing to look at, but an unfortunate situation for SNVJ. They use those mines, and immediately most of them get taken out by the Dragons. Luckily, nobody from their team is going to get taken down there, but SNVJ still finding themselves into the kill feed. The stall from Power Dragons has begun. Moo's going to start things off in the choke. Very difficult to get through when a Hammond is just body blocking. He's the size of the hallway.
I mean, it's beautiful to see, and Mr. X is showing a lot of value on this D.Va. I was kind of going to say, what is D.Va really trying to do here? Especially when you're getting focused down by two snipes, coming in the form of McCree with the Peacekeeper, then Speed now swapping over to the Maid. Was on the Hanzo, was dealing with the mech very well. I mean, I like the fact that we've run the Ice Demon out here now. I don't like Mei. I don't like Mei at all. But I mean, the walls, the utility getting it from there is going to be huge.
Oh, unfortunate. Luau thought they were out of the way, but through a crack. That self-destruct still going to be dishing out a lot of damage, and a big purple coming in from Mattel to help SNVJ push this payload just a bit further. And it doesn't look like Moose likes Mei either.
I don't think they do. That focus beam is absolutely gnarly. And you know, we see Klusix now bring out the Zarya, so I mean, you're not expecting to see the bubbles there, but yeah, it's starting to do its work.
It's work indeed. With 2 minutes and 60 seconds, they're looking to put almost an identical time bank on the clock, and with Notshark still getting these early picks on the Hanzo, it allows for Moose to float above, get a little bit extra damage in now. The Echo onto the Sigma, 79% to the Gravitic Flux. That could end it all and put them just underneath Power Dragons on that time blank, but not going to find anybody with their Gravitic Flux. And Nano boosted Mr. X there to hammer in those final couple nails into the coffin. A good stall from Power Dragons is going to keep the timer ticking down.
Yeah, Luau on this Tracer right now is being so evasive and getting the absolute perfect work done with this Tracer, being the Thord in the backline. He's got the Zarya in their sights. Will you be able to win this one out? Plus, it kills himself.
I'm so sorry, SNVJ. I seem to have cast her Cursia pretty hardcore there. Not able to take Luau out of the fight, and just the distraction that the Tracer brought to the table was enough to get the respawns back.
Absolutely, and Pulse Bomb and Blizzard all online for Power Dragons right now. Shadow will be up not too far behind that. What I'm looking for is which one is Pac-Man going to hold against? Is it going to be against the Pulse Bomb? Is it going to be against the Blizzard? You've got to hold it for the Blizzard, I think, here.
The Blizzard's your win condition for sure for Power Dragons. You're going to be able to take a lot of time off of the clock. Even if you don't get kills, you can just stall it out by forcing them off like this. Speed, able to pick up a kill there at the very end for Power Dragons. And SNJ has the Shatter, but it's going to get blocked. Fudgy now looking to get aggressive and throw out a Shatter of their own, but they know that's what Mr. X is expecting, so just going to keep it in tow for the next engagement. With no ultimates online for Power Dragons, it's going to be that grab for SNVJ that we're looking out for.
Yeah, I mean, you will have Rally and the Shatter as well. But Transcendence could deny all the work coming in from that.
The Shatter goes down, and it's gonna land. Mr. X swinging his hammer, doesn't have the shield up, but a Transcendence from Pac-Man gonna keep them alive for just a bit longer. Onto the high ground goes Luau there at the very edge, but Moo with the Deadeye going to get blocked off by the wall just enough. If you'd worn heels, you know, or boots with a bit higher of a heel, maybe you can see over that wall, but the rest of SNVJ on the other side gonna be getting things done. And you know, only a minute left. You capture it sub a minute, so you only get a minute, but able to make things work really well on that first attack. It's gonna be up to Power Dragons to have a pretty staunch defense this time around.
Yeah, I mean, they got him into overtime. So, I mean, you know, they add a minute on to Power Dragon's time, so they'll be just shy of 3 minutes on their attack phase. But they're going to come out here on the defense. I mean, not a lot of time for SNVJ to work with. They're not going to have that time to build up to ultimates in a hurry. So what do you bring out here to try and maximize your potential, hopefully getting to the first point and capturing it? Man, you've got to be mobile. I think that you need to have, you know, one clip or one-hit wonders coming out from SNVJ. I like the fact that they're bringing out, you know, the Widowmaker here. That's absolutely a one-hit wonder. Also, you know, a good volley from McPacman could also be a one-hit wonder as well. They are going to run the metal dive here with the Winston and the Wrecking Ball. I like this coming out of SNVJ. You get that chip damage, you get the cleave going on as well. Pair that with a Discord orb, and you could take down a squishy target in Speed or Luau very quickly.
Yeah, the goal for them is going to be to do so, especially if they can, in my opinion, if they can get strategy kind of off the table. I know you haven't been a big fan of the bridge play, but it's getting work done, you know? It's helping with the control of Klusix and Mr. X. You have that whip flail to push them back when they try and dive in. Right there, you just saw it, then the stun goes down. Luckily, Mr. X able to stay alive for it, but you're seeing that little bit of crowd control that Power Dragons has on their side of the table coming through, and a big deflect coming through from Shark.
Yeah, I mean, the work is being done, but I mean, the Peacekeeper and the Flashbang is absolutely what is needed here. But I mean, the trades are coming through. Obviously, Spawn is in the favor of the attackers here. So, I mean, we're closing in on the last couple of seconds here. Are they going to be able to get the damage and the progress they need? Or are they going to be stopped right here at Big Earls?
I think they're gonna get stopped right here at Big Earls. It was gonna be a big play. Shark was able to get a lot of the members of Power Dragons down very early. The respawn's finally coming through, but it looked like Klusix getting a little bit late to the party. The kills now for Power Dragons, and all for Power Dragons speed, cleaning up in the kill feed. But man, Klusix was gonna pile drive on the top. Shark had the dash at the ready. The Dragon Blade comes off from the side of the cliff, and it would have been a stellar play, but sadly, not enough time on the clock.
Not enough time at all, my friend. I mean, there's your win condition set for Power Dragons. They are on series point here, and they've just got to go 74.51 meters, basically a little bit past the center of Big Earl's garage there, and they will go ahead and take the victory here today. So, 3 minutes to do it. They're going to have time to theory craft what they want to do. They have time to build up to ultimates and just, really just snowball over the top of SNVJ. So do you see Cheese come out here? I think the time is now. I mean, you could look at, a Tracer. You could look at a Torbjorn here as well, especially dealing with Speed's Echo. We've seen them work that hero very nicely all afternoon. And that's one of the answers that, they haven't been able to solve yet is the DPS of Power Dragons. They get such great positioning. The flanks that we've seen from Blue Owl on this McCree have also been stellar today. I think that if Mr. X and Klusix can work in better tandem together, I think that they can hold this first corner and just deny the high ground push coming from Power Dragons.
I feel like that's really the only way that you can take this next defense. I mean, the payload doesn't really have to go that far, and you lose one fight on top of Earls, and that's the end of Route 66. You're not going to have time to get back to the payload for your defense, and Power Dragons looking to make things quick and uncomfortable. Oh, wow. Speed just making sure that the rest of the team can go through the underground passage without having to fear for Shark's traps. A very quick focus beam. Absolutely massive indeed. Max is going to fall on the Reinhardt, and the Rein Zarya combination no longer on the table. Power Dragons need but to hold the shield and whittle down SNVJ's members one by one.
Well, that's a good pick there for SNVJ, but the res is available, and now you're just going to be able to delete everybody. I mean, look at Speed. Speed has been carrying this team all day, and we see it again. That's going to close out our series right there, Steidl, on the back of Speed and the Echo. My goodness, that was a performance from the Echo player for Power Dragons. I mean, it's a sweet 2-0. And just beautiful work from the team. The coordination was absolutely phenomenal all afternoon, and that is just clean as you like.
Yeah, Power Dragons doing a really good job of taking the meta and kind of fitting it to what they like to play. You don't often see Brig Ana as your support lineup, especially when you're running the Rein Zarya combination. Like I said, it's very rare to see that without that Lucio in the mix. They made it happen. Usually, a lot of times you see May McCree in that situation. Nah, they were like, we're gonna give Speed the Echo because let Speed do what Speed does.
And the duplicates were good all day long. I mean, we saw quite a few Roadhog duplicates on Li Zhang, but then looking at the duplicates that came out here, went for the main tank, went for the Reinhardt, and got some good shatters, got some good pins as well. So, I mean, great overall performance from Power Dragons. I got to give the MVP to Echo for Speed. I mean, that's absolutely. Oh, we have another map. Oh,
yeah, first of 3. So we've got one more map to go. But right now, Power Dragons doing a really good job of putting things together. SNVJ's got a little bit of time during this short break to get themselves a pep talk and get back in the game. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And Chef Billy here to bring you the action with SNVJ versus Power Dragons. And it has been a story of only one team today. Unfortunately, SNVJ have not really found their avenue of getting into this fight. They picked up that very, very, very first control point, but since then, it's been a little bit dry.
It has been. And, looking at what the Power Dragons have been running today, Speed on this Echo has absolutely been dominating. It doesn't even need a Mercy pocket. We've seen the Ana Brig support line, and I was clutching at the air. I was clawing at the sky, trying to figure out what the meaning of this bizarre support line was. But looking at the support packs coming out from the Brigitte, really keeping Echo up through, the sustained damage that they're trying to focus down onto speed on the Echo. I think that's what the real purpose of the Brigitte is, and also, closing the gap and preventing the initiation coming from SNVJ. That flail and shield bash has been working its wonders. We saw it on prominent display on top of Big Earls during the overtime extra innings work coming out of Power Dragons in their defense. So, right now, I say keep running it. I was questioning it at first, but now I see what they're doing with it, and they're playing it to perfection.
Yeah, just because we don't understand the full complexity of what you're doing doesn't mean you can't prove us wrong and show us something new and cool to try and implement and yell at people in our solo ladder games and such. But SNVJ, they've got themselves a little bit of a pep talk, and we are going to be going to Kings Row for this next map. I mean, this is the one map where, in my opinion, no team gets an excuse. If you don't have 2 to 4 already set plays and rotations here on this map, what are you doing?
Yeah, and I mean, it's a chance, to really exert your dominance here. That's the other thing. Is that, for Power Dragons right now, do you swap off from what you've been running all day? I mean, you can run any variation of a double shield. Like, you could run the Rhino-Rissa here. You could keep, you could keep Moshmak on the back with a Rissa and bring out Fudgy on that Reinhardt that they've been running all day. I mean, a lot today. It just depends. It just depends on how they want to attack this. And speaking of attack, they will be on the attack here. So SNVJ is going to show us our defense first. The Sombra was getting work done on Route 66. I did like that from Moose. So we'll see if it's going to be enough damage. Shark bringing out the Cowboy again. So you've got potential for the CC from the flashbang. You've also got the projected barriers from Klusik. So they're going to have to hold their nerve here. They do have the Lucio, so they'll be able to speed in and out of danger as necessary. And let's see if they catch Mr. X's little fun play here on the side.
I really hope that this works out, but I'm going to be looking at Pac-Man to be the big player for SNVJ. Going to be getting the speed boost out is going to be the most important thing. Oh no, speed onto the Mei. Yep. I think they see you there, Mr. X.
They do indeed. And yeah, just getting some work done there, and you're going to go ahead and use the charge to get back to his team. So that's going to be off the table for a little bit. Really, Moose on this Sombra is going to have to be initiator. They're going to have to really call off their hacks and see if they can get the focus fire down in on top of it.
However, Power Dragons just bulldozing their way onto the point. Immortality Field now taken down. The rest of them can go. A couple of kills for Mr. X as a well-timed speed boost from Pac-Man gets them back into the fight at just the right moment. Somebody, however, needs to deal with the Widowmaker here just outside of the fight.
Yeah, but Klusik has massive charge right now, up at 95%. So, I mean, Luau single-handedly took half the team of SNVJ out of the fight. They still haven't dealt with the issue here. And looking at Moshmak, who's going to be able to come online. There is the Sombra revealed as well, so no sneak hacks coming in. What a great wall coming from Speed.
And this is what happens when you don't give a player the respect that they deserve. They were like, the Widowmaker's there, just leave her. She's gonna go regroup with her team. No, if you're not gonna push me, I'm gonna take all these free shots. And oh, look at that. My team's back and yours isn't.
Wow. Oh. Wow, what great follow through there from Moshmak on to taking down the Ana. And I mean, looking at ultimates coming up online, I mean, you've got the Amp Matrix. That's going to be able to get you at least around one corner, if not two. Speed almost has the Blizzard up. You almost have Shatter as well. So this is some serious work coming out of Power Dragons right now. Grab will be able to be thrown by Klusik to stop the aggression. And if you pair it with a really well-placed anti-nade, you could exterminate all of Power Dragons in one fell swoop.
One fell swoop indeed, and momentum is the name of the game here on Kings Row. You're at 4 minutes and 12 seconds. You can still finish this map with positive time bank, especially if you're just gonna make it so that the rest of the team can't play. Moose right now not having a great game, not having a great time, immediately getting deleted by Luau on this Widowmaker, but Pac-Man and Clue6 have something to say about it. The freeze comes through to save Power Dragons, and an Immortality Field is there to help out. However, doesn't look like it's going to be too bright and shiny of a day for them. SNVJ committing a lot of value into finishing this fight, but don't close the door completely on the Power Dragons.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they had Mr. X down to like maybe 40 HP, and they still were able to keep him up through the fight, and they denied the corner here. But you've got the rally. You've got the Graviton Surge coming into this next fight. Pac-Man will have to keep that sound barrier up and ready for said Graviton Surge.
And there goes that Graviton. The wall's there to the sound barrier. Barely able to get through. It looks like it squeaked its way underneath the ice wall just in time, but the damage from Power Dragons is just a little bit too much. A high charge Zarya, a Rhine press an M1, and Power Dragons are going to be able to move the payload on to point 2.
Yeah, and I mean, it was strategy again on this Brigitte that I've been, kind of hounding today about, the picks, and I mean, just looking at the work being done. My goodness, Clue6, you're going to be in trouble there, my friend, if you don't watch out for the Widowmaker, because they have their sights set on you right now. They've got the high ground. They've got a Baptiste up there with them to keep them up as well. So sights available. They're going to be able to reveal everything out. And, yeah, Dragons available for Naj. We'll see what they can bring out of this.
And ideally, you want to be able to save these Dragons until Clue6 can get the grab, but they just haven't been able to build up consistent ult energy throughout this engagement. You see Luau going into the back line on the Widowmaker, and Mattel just kind of hopping, dodging, and dipping as much as possible, trying to keep the Lucio alive in the back line, but it's just not going to fare well. As the kills continue to come through for Power. Oh, and a charge mixed with a couple of shots from K-Mac. The Amplification Matrix is going to seal the deal.
331, Steidel, that was pretty emphatic for the Power Dragons there. And they, you mentioned it. They didn't respect the Widowmaker of Luau. And Luau on that first point took half of SNVJ off the playing field with 3 shots. And it was Dunsky from there. They had a little bit of a stall around the second corner after Bookstore. But, I mean, they never really seemed to coalesce together as a full 6, and I mean, it was almost like a stagger fest going on for SNVJ. I don't know if the mental is boomed right now, but I mean, they have the tools to get back into the series. They've just got to come out with a lethality that we haven't necessarily seen all day from them. And
to quote a good friend of mine, it's finishing your plate. There were multiple fights there for SNVJ. Just take the first point, for instance. Literally every single person, every member of Power Dragons had been sent back to spawn except for Luau. Luau peppers in a couple of shots. SNVJ goes, don't go after the Widowmaker. Don't finish the fight. We're not going to clean up our plate. Let's save it for later. And Luau completely decimates their backline, starts to whittle down a couple of their DPS and tanks, and now nobody can reach the Widowmaker as these respawns are coming in for Power Dragons. Similar story happens at that corner after Bookstore. 3 members left of Power Dragons, but SNVJ not able to whittle them down and take them out of the equation so they can sustain, get a little bit of chip damage, and then come back big.
Yeah, and I think Speed bringing out this May was also a big wrinkle into what SNVJ were up against. So, they have made some nice swaps here. Once again, Luau right out the gate is starting to take matters into their own hands.
And with the amount of freedom that was given on the attack, no reason not to pull this out on the defense. I mean, look at this. Power Dragons dealing with everything SNVJ is throwing at them.
Yeah, I mean, Luau, once again, getting the shots in when they need it. And, yeah, Naj is going to bring out their own Widow and see if they can get any work done here.
Looking for the perfect hack. Hopefully going to be able to find a 1 clip here onto the Widowmaker. But no, the headshot comes out from Luau. Moose, back to spawn you go, buddy.
It's filthy. I'm here for it. I'm here for it, Steidel. This is making me so happy to see a really good Widowmaker being able to, change their positioning up, change their sight lines, And I mean, right now, SNVJ has no idea of where Luau is going to pop up next.
Not to mention that with sites almost online, Moose is not going to be able to keep themselves hidden very much longer. Is that the Dragon's account? No, I'm sorry. Seeing things here on my end, but Mr. X and the Nano Boost aren't going to get anything done for SNVJ. The damage from Power Dragon still too much. An instant shatter from Fudgy. And they're still going to have the Graviton and the Rally next fight. They're still going to have a Blizzard. And SNVJ just has nothing on the table to deal with it.
Yeah, and you've got both support ultimates almost online for Power Dragons as well, so this is just time wasting at its finest. And sites being popped from spawn from Luau. So, I mean, you're going to deny the value of the Sombra right now. They have swapped over to a Pharah now, so they're going to give a little bit of an eye level change here from Naj. I mean, look at that. The support takes down the Pharah. That is filthy.
And you're able to get the kill onto speed, so bit of a silver lining if you can die quick, reunite, and get into this fight with some haste. Get that Lucio speed boost online right now. You can start it off as a 5v6 and hopefully give yourself a little bit of an upper hand.
Yeah, and I mean, immortality barrier is going to have to be brought out first. You got to pull that out of Power Dragons and then try to get what you can out of it.
And the EMP from Sam does land big, able to find both of the main tanks, but the Immortality Field coming out from K-Mac is going to keep them alive and in the game as Shark beginning to come online on this Pharah. Luau still in the back line. The Shatter comes through just beneath the shield, but a flashbang and a shield bash comes straight from Mr. X and pushes them all the way back to spawn.
Yeah, that's a great work coming out from them, and Noshlark is starting to turn this around. There's two for them. Immortality Barrier is going to be up again, and that's a full charged Moshmak right now. That's 190 DPS per second coming out from the Zarya. Can you get the kills here? They take him down. They're going to go ahead and capture point A. Yeah, finish your plate. Eat all your food. Do it. Do it.
And that's what we've been wanting to see from SNVJ. Just get the whole picture and finish your plate. Don't get caught out, Moose. Okay, good.
I mean, they're sub 30 seconds here, and they're just now getting the last kills here. I mean, here comes the recontest, maybe coming from them.
They have time to do it if they want to, but good job by Nadshark. Those 2 kills most likely prompted the call out in comms from Power Dragons. Okay, guys, wait. Don't commit. But it was too late. Mr. X, he's hunting.
I think Mr. X is a little bit ticked off right now after the first 2 maps. He's been bullied by Fudgy all day, and Moshmak, the tank pair from Power Dragons. And I mean, that's the first point of the board. They're going to be sub whatever time that Power Dragons put up because of that stall right there. I mean, they went to sub 30 seconds before they finally captured point A. So right now they need to get clean work through the streets phase. They can't be stopped here. Otherwise, it's going to be more into the time bank of what Power Dragons put up.
Oh, the Power Dragons are going to come through big on the back of that Blizzard from Speed, slowing people down. And one of the last things you want to be is immobilized and not shielded, as Luau takes sight lines down the alley.
Yeah, and look at strategy again. You know, on the Rhine's back shoulder, just throwing the flails with zero caution, and just getting all the value that they need out of it. I mean, the rally did keep them up through that EMP, so you know, value there. Now they can hold this archway here. They can throw an amp matrix into it and really stop the progress coming from SNVJ. Looking for Clue6 to land a big Graviton surge here into this next fight.
Onto the high ground goes Nadshark, but getting zoned out completely. Moose has been detected in the back line. The Graviton is big, but the damage coming out from Power Dragons is just a bit bigger. That Immortality Field once again from K-Mac, saving the day.
Yeah, this is beautiful work coming out of K-Mac. They are the main support for Power Dragons, and I've been loving what I've been seeing out of them all day today. And man, I mean, going into the next fight, you're coming up on the sound barrier here shortly. Shatter will have to be big as well. Nice work there from Moose to take down Luau. So I mean, you have the work coming in.
Just barely missing those nades right there, Shark. very close to deleting strategy completely out of the fight, but upper hand definitely in favor of SNVJ. They need to be careful of Fudgy's Shatter. If they can get a block onto this Shatter, the second point is all but theirs. However, Power Dragons going to have enough time to back out completely and rush themselves back in. Here comes the Reinhardt showing himself. Is the bubble, has the swing and hammer. They know he wants to Shatter, lays it down under the payload, and it lands. 2 down now for SNVJ in a 4v6 in their last fight here on King's Row as they continue to lose members. Mr. X can't stay alive, and SNVJ are gonna have to concede the payload and its progression.
Yeah, I mean, that was just classic wait and push at the same time. And that Shatter that came out from Fudgy under the payload, taking Pac-Man down. I think that was their one chance to really capture that last bit of progress on point B. Huge work coming out from the Power Dragons all day long. That's a 3-0 win for them. Now I can say that they actually won the series now that I realize that it's a first to 3, but you know, it happens, and I'm here for it. But I mean, that was great work once again from all members.
Absolutely fantastic play from both teams. Power Dragons just looking like they have themselves put together just a little bit stronger. We won't be voting on our MVP, but please do let us know in Twitch chat, ladies and gentlemen, who you think the MVP of the show was. Billy here, when he comes back, surely we're going to tell you that Speedy was the MVP for him. But for me, it was that Baptiste K-Mac, just the immortality fields coming out at the perfect amount of time, the perfect time.
Yeah, I agree with your pick as well. I just think the speed on the Echo and then on the May as well. Not only, you know, putting up great walls, getting great blizzards, but also a little bit of a sharpshooter with the icicles, taking the Naj Widow out a couple of times. So great work from all members of Power Dragons today. They do take a 3-0 win, and they go to 1-0 on the season. This is our first match of the GGEU here for I guess the spring of 2021.
Yeah, first match of the season, and we're gonna have that second match here in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna have, I believe it's Team Speed Boost, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and Acid Trip. I don't know if I had
this is gonna be.
I don't know if the inflection was right.
Right, Speed Boost. I can't.
Well, we practice our Lucio impressions, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna get these teams into the lobby, so we're gonna go to a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with our advanced